Welcome students to the online class. I am your science teacher and I will be teaching you the physics portion. And we will start with the chapter motion for class 9. So we are starting with the chapter motion. Now in the chapter motion, two terms are very important: rest and motion. So from the word rest we can understand anything when it is stationary, and from the word motion we can understand anything which is moving. But whenever we define rest or motion, that need to be defined to a reference point, an object which is stationary with respect to a reference point. Okay, we will define that an object is at rest with respect to another point, or motion, an object which is moving with respect to a reference point. So why this word reference point is important in the definition of rest and motion? See, if something appears rest to me, maybe that thing is not appearing at rest for the other person. Or if something appears to be moving in case of me, but that thing can appear to be at rest in case of some other person. So that's why we say rest and motions are relative terms. Okay, an object at rest may not be at rest with respect to another person. An object in motion may not be at motion with respect to another person. That means when you are there inside a bus, the bus is moving, right? And the co-passengers of the bus with respect to you, they are at rest. I am repeating it once again. You are moving in a bus. Okay, the co-passengers, those who are sitting with you in the bus, they are in rest according to you. But a viewer who is there outside the bus, according to that person, the bus is in motion, and hence all the passengers sitting inside the bus will also be in motion. And according to you also, if you are there inside the bus is moving, then according to you, the person who is there standing outside will be in motion with respect to you. So they are relative terms. I will explain you with a simple example. Suppose you have two trains, right? And both the trains are moving along same direction with same velocity. Okay, the speed of the train is same. The speed of the train is same. They are moving along same direction with same speed. Then the passenger who is sitting there at A and the passenger who is there at B, both the passengers at same positions, okay, or the passengers of A will see passengers of B to be at rest, then passengers of B will observe passengers of A to be at rest. Both the trains are moving. Two passengers of train A will observe themselves in rest. Two passengers of train B will observe themselves at rest. Okay, passengers of A will observe passengers at B to be at rest. Passengers of B will observe passengers of A to be at rest. But someone who is there outside, a person who is standing outside, he will observe both the trains to be in motion, right? So speed are same, and hence you can understand the speed is same, the direction of the movement for both the trains are same, and then you can understand that the passengers of both the trains, they are appearing to be at rest with respect to each other, where actually they are in motion. Okay, so object at rest or object at motion, that always be defined with respect to a fixed reference point. We cannot tell anything is completely at rest, or we cannot tell anything completely at motion. Okay, that always needs to be defined with respect to a reference point or with respect to a fixed point. Now there are three types of motions: translatory motion, rotational motion and vibratory motion. So when I say translatory, the word translatory means translation. The body is moving forward. If this is the body, if the pen is the body, the pen will move forward. Okay, suppose if a body is here, A, the body is moving here, B, it is a translatory motion. Or if it is moving in this way, from A, the body A, okay, from position A, the body is moving to another position B. Here also, from one position A, the body is moving to another position B. Or suppose a body is moving in a circular path. Okay, then also suppose the body has started from here, the body is moving through the full circular path, again coming back. So in all of these cases, the body is moving forward. The body is changing its position. It is not fixed at one position. It is getting translated. It is moving forward. We are not considering what type of path is it following, but the body is moving forward. Now next is rotational motion. Rotational motion, suppose this is a fixed axis and there is a disc which is rotating along this fixed axis. Just like the fan which rotates around a fixed axis. Have you ever seen the fan changing its position? No. A ceiling fan can never change its position. It will keep on rotating around a fixed axis. Just like the top which you rotate on the floor, you will see that the top keeps on rotating. Yes, there is a slight translation also observed in case of a top, but then also the body of the top, it keeps on rotating around a fixed axis, just like the hand of the clock. So there is a fixed axis along which the hands of the clock keep on moving, right? So that is also rotational motion. The blades of the fan, they never change their position. Okay, they rotate, but they never move forward. Okay, they rotate around a fixed axis. So if anything rotates around a fixed axis, that will be your rotational motion. Now vibratory motion, you have seen vibratory motion when a pendulum swings, or in case of a swing in park, you have observed it when a pendulum swings in this way. So that is the to and fro motion. Okay, this to and fro motion, this back and forth motion is known as vibratory motion. You have studied about molecules. So when solid molecules, they are heated up, they don't have any intermolecular space between them. So these molecules, they keep on vibrating. Okay, then gas molecules, they experience random motion when they are heated up. So they starts vibrating with each other. Okay, so these are vibratory motions, or we can say oscillatory motions as well. Vibratory motion can also be said as oscillatory motion. So the simplest type of motion with which we are going to deal is a linear motion or a straight line motion. The simplest type of motion is straight line motion. We can also say it as a linear motion. Okay, the motion which is along a straight line is also known as linear motion. So in linear motion, we need to know two important terms, that is distance and displacement. So when I say the word distance, distance is the total path covered, and displacement, it is the shortest distance between initial point and final point. Displacement is the shortest distance between initial point and final point. So I will show you with an example. Suppose a body is moving from A to B, right? Then the body is moving from B to C. Okay, this is 3 meters, this is 4 meters. So the body is moving from A to B, then it is moving from B to C. This is the direction of the motion of the body, right? This is my initial point represented by I. This is my final point. So how much is the distance covered by the body? You can easily answer 3 meter plus 4 meter. 3 meter plus 4 meter, that is 7 meter is the distance covered by the body, right? But is it the shortest path between initial point and final point? No. The shortest path is this one, right? This is the shortest path. So if the body would have traversed through this path AC, then it would be the shortest path. So distance means how much path is actually covered, and displacement means from what position to what position the body is being displaced. The body is being displaced. Suppose I have my pen here. So if I want to take this pen here, okay, if I want to displace the pen from here to here, what I can do? I can directly displace it, or I can displace it in this way, right? Okay, so what am I doing? This is the distance covered, the actual distance covered. But how much is the displacement? Displacement depends on this path, the initial point, and where it is being placed. The initial point and the final point. Okay, so displacement is the shortest distance between initial point and final point, and it has direction. Displacement, it always has a direction. So it is directed from initial point to final point. The body was here initially, that is your origin. Now the body is displaced at final position. The body could have moved in this way also, but the displacement will be this one, where it was previously, where it is now. It is not depending on the path traveled by the object. It is only depending on the positions. So displacement is the shortest distance between initial point and final point, where distance is the total path covered by the body, right? So if I need to find out the displacement for this one, if this is the displacement for the right angle triangle, then how will I find it out? You know from Pythagoras theorem, root over 3 square plus 4 square, if I need to find out AC, right? So AC equals to, how much will I get? 5 meter. For a right angle triangle, you know 3:4:5. Okay, so this is your 5 meter, right? So 5 meter is the displacement. Now if I consider for this circular path, suppose if the body has moved through this path instead of moving in this way, so how much will be the distance? Distance will be this path, that is half of the circumference. When a body moves through circular path, then circumference is the distance covered by the body. So in this case it is half of the circumference. So 5 meter is the diameter for this circumference. So 2 pi r divided by 2, using this one you can find out the distance covered. And what will be the displacement? The diameter of the body will be the displacement. So let us come to another sum. Suppose here same thing, the body has moved from A to B. The body is moving from A to B, right? Taking this curved path. What is the displacement? This is the displacement. Let us consider the radius is 2 meters, right? So what will be my distance? Distance will be 2 pi r. Now half of the circumference, so pi r, right? So that is 22 by 7 into 2. If you calculate, you will get distance. And how much will be the displacement? 2 meter. It has moved from here to here. So if this is the center, so from center to B it is 2 meter. From center to A it is again 2 meter. So displacement is how much? Displacement will be 4 meter. Right? Now if the body is moving in this way through a circular path, this is the starting point, the body comes in this way. Achha, displacement always has a direction. So the body moves in this way and again come back to the point from where it has started. So initial point and final point both are same. So if there is no separation between initial point and final point, I can say displacement of the body is 0. But can I say distance of the body is 0? In no case, if the body is traversing, in no case it is possible that distance of a body will be 0. But displacement of the body can be 0 if the body comes back to its original position. Okay. So, displacement is 0 in this case, and how much will be the distance covered? Let us take as the radius 2 meter. So, the full circumference is your distance covered. Okay. So, 2 into 22 by 7 into r. So, if you solve it, you will get out the total distance which is covered by this body. Okay. And while doing the sums, be careful about the units. So, let us try to understand the differences between distance and displacement. The complete length of a path. Distance is the complete length, how much it is being travelled. If it is travelling in this way, this way, this way, so it is initial point, this is final point. Okay. This is the complete path, where minimum path between starting and ending point is your displacement. This much will be your displacement, right? But this will be the distance. So, distance depends on the path, whereas displacement depends on the initial and final position, from where to where the body is displaced. Distance is a scalar quantity, whereas displacement is a vector quantity. You know, scalar quantity means the physical quantity which has magnitude only. Magnitude means the amount. Vector quantity means the physical quantities which have magnitude as well as direction. Distance always have positive value. Distance can never be negative, or distance can never be 0. If the body has started its journey, it will obviously cover some distance. Even if the body comes back, then also it will have some distance. Displacement can be positive, negative or 0. Distance is not represented by an arrow. Displacement is represented by an arrow. Why? Because displacement has a direction. Now I will explain this few of the phenomena to you. Now, as I am telling you, distance is a scalar quantity, whereas displacement is a vector quantity. So, suppose this is origin. So, at the origin you have your school. Okay. Or at the origin, let us consider you have your home. Your home is at the origin. Okay. So, from home you are coming to school, right? You are covering a distance of 5 kilometers, okay, to come. So, this is 5 kilometers plus 5 kilometer. Now, when you are going from school to home, then what are you doing? You are again covering a distance of 5 kilometers to go back home. So, total distance covered is 5 plus 5 kilometer, that is 10 kilometers, right? So, distance is always positive. How much is the displacement? You have started your journey from home, again you came back to home. So, your displacement is 0. Now, you are going for your dance class. After reaching home, you are going to your dance class, which is on the other side of your school, right? So, with respect to this position, suppose if you are moving 2 kilometers on this side, right? Okay. So, if you are moving 2 kilometers on this side, I will say if this is your positive x-axis, this is your negative x-axis. So, I will say your displacement is minus 2 kilometers. From the origin, you are moving to the other direction. Minus 2 kilometer will be your displacement. Okay. And how much will be your total distance? 5 kilometer plus 5 kilometer, 10 kilometer total distance, plus 2 kilometer, that is 12 kilometer is the total distance covered by you. Clear? Why it has a direction? See, this is the direction of your movement. So, this is the direction of your displacement. Again, if I draw this diagram. the body has moved from A to B, then the body has moved from B to C. This is 3, this is 4 meters, right? So 3 meter plus 4 meters, 7 meter is the total distance which is covered by the body. And how much is the displacement? AC is the displacement, which is 5 meter. So from initial point to final point, right? This is the direction. The direction is from A to C. So if the direction, if A is my origin, and from origin if I measure the displacement, okay, I have moved from A to C. So I am measuring displacement in the direction of my movement. So your displacement becomes plus 5 meter. Now instead of measuring that, if I measured it from in this way, from C to A if I measure, then my displacement will be minus 5 meter. Because displacement always depends on the direction. Displacement is a vector quantity. It will have magnitude, that is 5, and it will have the direction represented by the negative sign. Okay. Then if something is vector quantity, that will be represented by the arrow. Distance is a scalar quantity, is represented only not by an arrow. We simply represent distance. Now let us move to a simple sum. An athlete completes one round of a circular track of diameter 200 meter in 40 seconds. So there is a circular track. The track is of 200 meter diameter and it is completed by an athlete in 40 seconds. What will be the distance covered and displacement at the end of 2 minutes 20 seconds? So we need to find out the distance and the displacement after this much time. Okay, so first, whenever we do a numerical, first our objective is to write down whatever is given in the question. So given diameter 2r, I represent diameter as 2r. So 200 meters, radius is 100 meter. Time is 40 seconds, which is given to cover this much circular track having diameter 200 meter. Now the total time in which I need to find out the distance and displacement is 2 minutes 20 seconds. So 2 minutes means 120 seconds plus 20 seconds, that is 140 seconds in total. So in 40 seconds the athlete has complete one round. It is given in the question, right? Therefore in 140 seconds it will cover 3.5 round, unitary method. 1 by 40 into 140. So I will get 3.5 round. 3.5 round means what? 3.5 round. That means if this is the initial point, 1 round done, displacement 0. Second round done, displacement 0. Third round, displacement 0, and then half round. Right? Here the body is ending. 3.5 round. So for first 3 complete movement, for 3 complete rotation, displacement is 0. Okay, so we need to find out displacement only for this half movement, right? Okay, so how much is the distance covered? See, 3.5 round. So initially 3 times the full circumference has been covered. 3 times the full circumference has been covered, 1 time, 2 time, and then 3 time. So 3 into 2 pi r, and then for half time the circumference is covered, right? So half into 2 pi r, I have shown you in this way so that you can understand better. So that is 3 into half, 3 and 1.5, 3 whole number 1 and half into 2 pi r. Okay, so if you do this, you will be getting 220 meter. I am putting the values. 2 into 2r is your 200, pi is 22 by 7, 3 2s are 6 plus 1, 7 by 2. After cancellation you will get 2200 meter. So this is the total distance which has been covered by the athlete. Now we need to find out the displacement. Now displacement is the shortest distance between initial point and final point. So for 3 complete round your displacement is 0. Only for this half round I need to find out the displacement. This is your initial point, this is your final point. What is this representing? It's representing the diameter, right? If this is the diameter, that means this is the shortest distance and hence this is the displacement. So your diameter is given in the question 200 meter, hence your displacement will be 200 meter. So your displacement is 200 meter, right? Then we will come to a new portion, that is uniform motion and non-uniform motion. Now motion, it can be uniform, that means it will be covering equal distance in equal intervals of time, and non-uniform motion is the opposite. So if you see this table, I am starting from 9:30 AM, right? After 1 hour, it is the time is recorded after 1 hour, in the intervals of 1 hour. So when the time was 9:30 AM, distance traveled by A was 10 meter, right? After 1 hour, again 10 meter covered, so it is at 20 meter now. After 11:30 AM, right, at 11:30 AM it is 30 meter. After 1 hour, 40 meters. After 1 hour, 50 meters. That means after each hour, 10 meters of distance is being covered. The difference is 10 meters, right? Again after 1 hour, the distance is 10 meter. So after each hour, 10 meter of distance is being covered. That means equal distance is being covered after each and every equal intervals of time. The time is also equal. See, the difference between all the times which has been recorded is 1 hour, right? So after every 1 hour, what is happening? The distance is changing by 10 meters. Clear? But in case of B, what do we get to see? After 1 hour, first initially when it has started, it was at 12 meter. After 1 hour, it has only covered 5 meter. Then 24. So the changes are abrupt. Here 2 meters. Here, so the changes are abrupt. The changes are not continuous. Equal distance are not being covered in equal intervals of time. Unequal distances are covered in equal intervals of time. We have recorded the time in equal intervals, but the distance covered by the B is not equal. So if it is equal, we will say uniform. Uniform, the word uniform means constant. The motion is constant. The body is neither increasing its speed nor it is decreasing its speed. The speed of the body remains constant, right? So this is a case of uniform motion. And this one is the case of non-uniform motion, right? This is the case of uniform motion. This one is non-uniform motion. Okay. Now, from this case, from uniform motion, we can understand every 1 hour, 10 meter of distance is covered. So I can write 10 meter per hour is the speed in case of this one. What do we understand by the word speed? Speed is, in case of car, speed is distance by time. How much distance you are covering in unit time. Okay. So here 10 meter is the distance which is being covered per hour. So I can say the speed is 10 meter per hour. Okay. When we say speed, that means we are calculating the speed with respect to time, right? We are calculating how fast the body is with respect to time or how slow the body is with respect to time. So speed, whenever we calculate distance with respect to time. Now in case of the second body B, the distance covered are not equal, the distance covered are unequal. So here if we need to find out the average speed, obviously we can find out average speed in this case, right? So average speed will be total distance by total time. So we need to add up all the distances, 12 plus 17 plus 24 plus 22 plus 31, in this way, divided by the total time which it has taken. Okay, and we will get the average speed. So we will do mathematics regarding with average speed. Now I hope you have understood this much of the concept, that what do we mean by uniform motion and non-uniform motion. Now let us come to the definitions. So when I say uniform motion, that means if an object covers equal distance in equal intervals of time. Equal distance in equal intervals of time. And non-uniform motion means if it has travels unequal distances in equal intervals of time. So there are few examples of uniform motion and non-uniform motion. So uniform motion, movement of hand of a watch. You have never seen the hand of a watch increasing its speed or decreasing its speed. Rotation and revolution of earth. Always it is moving in a constant speed. Movement of blades of a ceiling fan. Now movements of blades of a ceiling fan, when we keep it at a particular speed, it will keep on maintaining its speed until and unless there is any fluctuations of electricity or anything like that. We are going to avoid it, but more or less the speed remains uniform. Then non-uniform motion, motion of a car on road, the motion which we have seen when we move, when you travel from your school to your home, you can never observe the speed to be uniform. According to the road, according to the space the buses they get, the speed keeps on varying, right? And freely falling bodies. Freely falling bodies means the body which is falling because of gravity. When you release something from your hand, the body falls freely. Okay, and the body gets attracted due to the body gets attracted at the center of the earth because of the gravity. So freely falling body is non-uniform motion. Why? Suppose you are walking very slowly, and I am telling that your motion is more or less uniform, but suddenly your friends pushes you from back. So in that case, what will happen? Your speed will increase, right? Or if your friend pulls you, right, near to him, so what will happen in that case also? Suddenly your speed will increase. So when body falls, earth pulls the body towards it. When any body falls, the earth pulls the body towards it because of gravity. There is a gravity acting on the body, and due to, we say acceleration due to gravity. The word acceleration means increase in speed or decrease in speed. We will study acceleration in details. Okay, acceleration, now you understand that the word acceleration means there will be variation in speed. Later on we will come with the terms velocity and etc. So speed will keep on varying. So earth is pulling the body towards itself. So therefore, if force is being applied on a body, that means the motion of the body, the speed of the body will not remain constant, the speed of the body will change, and hence we are saying that it is a non-uniform motion. The freely falling bodies are having a non-uniform motion. Next, we will determine the units of speed. So we have understood speed is distance by time. So speed is the distance travelled per unit time according to the definition, right? Speed is a scalar quantity. Okay, we are not determining the direction. Speed means how much path the body has covered, how much path it has travelled, because distance is a scalar quantity. Scalar quantity divided by the time will give you a scalar quantity. Distance is scalar, speed is also scalar. Okay, SI unit, distance unit is meter, time is second in MKS. MKS means meter, kg, second. CGS means centimeter, gram, second. So centimeter, distance, and time is represented by second. Okay, we can see distance time graph for a uniform motion. So if we have to plot, if we have to understand that how is the nature of uniform motion, then we need to plot it in a graph. Your x-axis is representing the time, your y-axis is representing the distance in meter and time is in second. So let us assume that we have observed a motion of an object. So when the time was 2 seconds, 10 meter was the distance covered, 4 seconds, 20 meter distance was covered, 6 seconds, 30 meter was covered, 8 seconds, 40 meter is being covered, and we need to plot it. So for 2 seconds, 10 meter distance covered, for 4 seconds, 20 meter distance covered, for 6 seconds, 30 meter distance covered, for 8, 40 meters of distance covered. Okay, and these are your plotted points. This is your plotted point, this is your plotted point, this is your plotted point, this one. So if I join it, when I join it, the line is passing, the line is a straight line, right? You can see the nature, the line is a straight line through the center. So the line is passing as a straight line. Okay, so uniform motion, when we define the nature of graph for uniform motion, the nature of the distance time graph for uniform motion is a straight line. You can understand why it is a straight line. It is an verification. How we have verified it? By drawing a graph we have verified it. If we plot it, equal distance in equal time interval, so it is increasing constantly, and if something increases constantly, then we will get a straight line. Anything which increases constantly, then we will get a straight line. Okay. Now in case of non-uniform motion, let us consider when time was 2 seconds, 8, 4 seconds, 15 meters, 5, 21, 6, 29, 8, 32. So abrupt. The changes are abrupt, and if we have plotted it for 2, 8 near to somewhere over here, for 4, 15, between 10 and 20. In this we have plotted, and the points, they kept on varying their position. It's not continuous, right? So we are going to get a curved line. Okay, so distance time graph for constant motion is a straight line, and distance time graph for a non-uniform motion, it is a curved line. So now let us see the differences. Uniform motion, the speed is constant. Non-uniform motion, the speed is variable, right? Now for uniform motion, it covers equal distances in equal intervals of time, unequal distances in equal intervals of time. Average speed is same as actual speed. Yes, average speed is same because each and every time the speed is constant. So hence if I calculate average speed, how do I calculate average speed? We calculate average speed by total distance by total time. In this way if I calculate, if I keep on adding all the distances, right? Suppose in this way, if I keep on adding all the distances, 10 plus 20 plus 30 plus 40 and all the times, then what will I get? I will get a speed which will be equal to the average speed which I will be getting will be equal to the actual speed. Okay, average speed is different from actual speed. Obviously over here the speed keeps on varying, so my average speed which I am getting, that is not always same with the actual speed. Uniform motion, it has no acceleration. The body is moving constant with no change in speed. Okay, so no acceleration. Non-uniform motion, there can be acceleration or deacceleration, means the speed either increasing, acceleration, deacceleration, decreasing. Distance time graph is a straight line, as you have seen. Distance time graph for a non-uniform motion is a curved line, right? So today we are doing up to this much. Thank you, students.